Okay, tonight's staff is Lilu Nishmas, my dear sister-in-law, Esther Chaya Bas Chaim David. Shalom, this yahrzeit is tonight. My older brother's wife. She was a very, very fine woman. And she told me before she was nifta, all she ever wanted to be was a good Beis Yaakov girl. That's all she wanted to be. She wanted to be remembered as a good Beis Yaakov girl, and she was a good Beis Yaakov girl. Understand what she's having. Leah, my Mechel's wife. Okay, we're in the middle of a sugya. Let's chaz rib a little bit, just to get it what we were holding. We saw that for one's mother is an issa sreifa. One's mother's mother is an issa sreifa. The Gemara then said, well, we had a limit of heina zima zima, and so therefore we wanted to say that just like a grandmother, a maternal grandmother is sreifa, a paternal grandmother also should be sreifa. In other words, if one was with his father's mother, should be sreifa. But we all remember from that very easy daf and chaf aleph and yavamis, that chart of all the shniyos, that it's yeah, I know you remember it. It's asa d'Rabbanan. It's asa d'Rabbanan. It's asa al shniyah la royas. So Fred, think about it, why don't we learn out just like aim imai is asa, so to what aim ima is asa, so to aim imo should be asa. Should be asa. On that, the Gemara had a few kashas. Okay, we said that there's two ways to learn in Gzeira Shava. When you learn Gzeira Shava, Gzeira Shava is heina zima zima. So now you can learn Gzeira Shava. Dok mina, you learn from it, umina, and you continue to learn from it. Or dok mina vukia basra. In other words, you learn one thing, and that's it. So in other words, all you would learn was that a paternal grandmother's asa. That's it. Dok mina is not only would you learn from it, but you'd extend, just like a maternal grandmother's sreifa, so too a paternal grandmother should be sreifa. In other words, take it one step further, and you would continue to learn from it. That's the basis of the sugya. Dok mino, you learn from it, or dok mino, and you continue to learn from it. Okay. So now, let's say like the man the amad doik mino, right? Umino, and you continue to learn from it. So therefore, you guys want me to use English or Hebrew? What works better? Paternal grandmother or Amy Mai? Great. Amy Mai. Okay. It's Amy Mai wins. I was listening to Rami Warner. Rami said Amy Mai. He said.
No, his heart's in Israel. That's one.
Okay. So Amy Mai. So in other words, it would be Sreifa. What would Imai mean? Imai would be Skila. Imai is Skila. That's a given. Imai is Skila. And Amy Mai would be Sreifa. Now, Loitiman de Ama, that Sreifa is more Chomer of Shimon, who says Sreifa is more Chomer than Skila. How can it be that the Aim Imo would be more Chomer than Imoy, right? That the Aim Imoy, the She'er of Aim Imoy comes as a result of Imoy. So if you're telling me Sreifa is more Chomer, right? How is it possible that the mother gets Skila and Aim Imoy is going to get what? Going to get Sreifa? In addition, just like Aim Ima is Sreifa, like Chalakta, so too well, you shouldn't make a chilik between what? Skila and Sreifa. They should both be the same. Okay. So therefore it makes sense to say that you cannot learn out Aim Imoi from Aim Ima for those reasons. Loiteman the Amma that Dok Mina, and that's it. Okay, and Loiteman the Amma that Skila is more Chomer. Like the mandiyam that skills mechama, you have the last question, right? The last question is, why would you make a chilik? That's streif, and this is streif skila. There was one more question I left that out because I forgot to mention. the question is that what that I just got an itch over here. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's the question. How can that the aiming might they be two different things? One be skill and straight, and okay, that's the question. Sorry. Okay, light now. Light the man the Amar. We're up to. So that's why you could not learn out what Amy my format from like the mandiyama, it says dok mina umina, and like the mandiyama dok mina buke basra. Okay, now we're up to ayin hey amid base, ayin amid base. Okay, ayin hey amid base. We're up to ayin hey amid base. We're going to get to ayin vav in a second. Okay, ulamanda amar dok mina vuki basra. Now again, we didn't do this. Like the mandiyama dok mina vuki basra. Mahi aim ima asura. I'm not sure I said, guys, earlier. Like the man the Amar that skila is mochama, then you have the last kasha, that the why chalakta. Okay, now, what about the man the Amar who says the gzeir shava that you learn it and then you keep it on its place? So says the Gemara, uman the Amar doik mina vuki basra. In other words, guys, all you're going to learn out is asa. Just like aim ima is asa, so to aim ima is asa, but you won't extend it to the what? To the einish. You won't extend it to the einish, right? Mahi aim ima asura, afhu nami aim ima asura. Fuki basra, meaning you're not going to learn out a punishment. Hasam hu dibisreifa, aval hacha beskila. But in other words, aim imo would not be sreifa, it would be skila, kida ashken be imo. Okay, guys, so guys, we're set up. Guys, watch. If doik mina, v'ukia basra, meaning all I'm going to learn is the isser. So aim imo we know is sreifa. What would aim imo mean? The same as imo. Imo skila. Aim imo is skila because you're not learning out everything. You're just learning out its asa. Okay, so now why doesn't that work? You know, guys, the whole premise is to show you can't learn out aim imo that it should be asa because we know it's not. So we figured that out according to Mandiyama Doik Mina Umina that it can't be. Now we're figuring out like the Mandiyama Doik Mina Hukia Basra that it can't be. Okay, so we're set up. Aim Imo is going to be Sreifa. Aim Imo is going to be Skila, similar to Imo. Good. Now Lamanda Amma Sreifa Chamura, like the Manda Amma that Sreifa is Muhammar. Good, like Rav Shimon. Ikalamifrich. We could have the following question. What's the question? Amid Aleph, Ayin Vav. Ma lehi shekain ima bisreifa, toima behu she'ena biskila. In other words, the reason why aim ima is asa is because ima is sreifa. And since sreifa is more chamor, therefore aim ima is asa. But like what? Imoi is going to be skila, so maybe aim imoi is not usher at all, because it's not the severe sreifa, it's the less severe skila. So that's the kasha. Again, this is like the man doik mina fukia basra. Keep it as it is. It's asa. However, you're not learning at the oynish sreifa. So guys, watch. Ima, you know why aim ima is asa? Because ima is besreifa. You know why aim imoi is not asa? Because ima is just skila, because you're holding straight as mochama. So therefore, that's one question why you can't learn it out. In addition, va'od hu kihi, he should be like she. Mahi lechalakta ba bein bita le'aim ima. Guys, what is bita? Guys with his daughter sreifa. What's aim ima? Sreifa. Good. But listen to this now. But what about him? Him with his daughter is going to be sreifa. What is with aim ima is going to be skila. It has to be the same. In other words, let's be consistent, guys. Guys, if he is with his daughter, it's skila, it's sreifa. Everyone holds that. With her daughter, it's sreifa, right? His daughter sreifa. Good. So her daughter sreifa, her mother sreifa. But him is going to be what? You want his mother to be his grandmother to be the same as his daughter, but it's not, because it's only going to be what? Skila. Says the Gemara, he loy chalakta ba bein bita leima, afhu loy chalakta ba bita leimimai. Okay, now that's the kontamandiyam that's sreifas mochamis. Ulmandiyam is skila chamura mehai kusha loy nidunya. Because of that kasha that you want the daughter and the granddaughter to be the same, therefore you're not going to learn it out. Good. So guys. So we've finished that. Again, you have a Gezer Shava, Heim Zima Zima. We wanted to go ahead and say, if that's the case, let's aim Imoy is Asr. and we've exhausted that Aim Imoy is not Asr. No matter what, whether you learn Doik Mina or Mina, or you like Doik Mina or Nasra, whether your whole strafe is Mochama, whether your skill is Mochama. Now we're going to do the same Gemara with Kalasai, with the guy's what? With the guy's daughter-in-law. Now, okay? With the guy's daughter-in-law. Says the Gemara, Imahu Kalasai Asura, Afhi Kalasa Asura. Now, what is Kalasa? Guys, let's figure out the parallel. Her son-in-law. That means the daughter of his stepson. His Kalasa is his daughter-in-law. That's his daughter-in-law from his wife, meaning there's no connection whatsoever. So let's do the parallel. Guys, a guy cannot be with his daughter-in-law. Could he be with his stepson's wife? Because why? Because we're learning at Zachak and Nekeva. We're learning at the parallels, right? Notice, how did we get into this, fellas? Because we had Zachak and Nekeva. So therefore we got Amy Ma, Amy Mo. So now we're doing the exact same thing. Kalaso, Kalasa. But I'm just giving you the word, what does it mean, her daughter-in-law? Meaning it's not his daughter-in-law? It's not his daughter-in-law. What is it? It's his wife's son, meaning not his son. Because if it was his son, it would be his daughter-in-law. If it would be his son, it would be his daughter-in-law, right? So it can't be his son. It must be her son. Her son now marries a girl. That's the parallel in the world of what of erva that we're deciding over here. That's the parallel in the world of erva. So now you're going to say the following: just like what kalasa is asura, afihi kalasa asura. Guess what, guys? A man can marry his stepson's wife. A man can marry his stepson's wife. In other words, her daughter-in-law is mutter. But one second, if Kalasa is Asar, then in the parallel world of Zachar and Nekeva, she should be Asar. Amar Abaya, Amar Kra, on that the Pasuk says, let me get the Pasuk for you. Yuches Tesvav. Ervas kalascha, guys, the erva of your daughter-in-law, loy segale, Eishes binchahi. It's the wife of your son. The Gemara's Gendarshan, guys, the wife of your son is asa, the wife of her son is not. Yeah? In other words, we have a Gezeres HaKosif to tell you that you don't go ahead and learn from the Gezeres Shava that she should be asa. Guys, once you set this up, it's not so hard. Again, yesterday it was harder because I guess I just saw it for the first time. But it's and we saw it with the sheet. I gave out that paper yesterday. It was nice. We set it up with Hey Mazima. We're going to get back to that. So again, the setup is Amy Ma, Amy Mai. We exhausted that. Now we're trying to do Kalasai, Kalasa, and we exhausted that through a limud. Says the Gemara. Let's see it inside. Okay. Now. Kalasa is skila, I believe. Kalasa is one of the niskalim. Okay, so it says the Gemara now. Amar Abaya, Amar Kra, Eishes bin Chahi. Mishum Eishes bin Chatam Chayvoi, Viatam Chayvim Mishum Bina. Now that'd be great. If we'd stop right here, that would be great. But Rava has to make it hard. Rava is going to do the same thing, guys. We're going to go through the same thing. Doik Mina, and whether what's more chomer. Okay, you all set up. Guys, you set up, you're good. I love when I say you're good and you're not. Guys, listen. Guys, let's wake up. Guys, look. We're going to say the same thing. We're going to say the same thing. You're going to learn out from the Gezeres Shava and continue to learn out. You can't learn out Kalasa from Kalasai. And even if you don't learn out, continue to learn out, you still can learn out. At the end of the day, Kalasai is going to be Mutta. At the end of the day, it's going to be Mutta. That's what we're doing now. Amar Rava Amar, Bein Lamanda Amar Doik Mino Omino, you learn out and you continue to learn out. Bein Lamanda Amar Doik Mino Vuki Basra, and you only learn the Isser and that's it. Loi Asya, you can't learn out her daughter, her son-in-law from your son-in-law. From your, excuse me, her daughter-in-law from your daughter-in-law. Lamanda Amar Doik Mino Umina. Mahu kalasay asura, afinami kalasay asura. Good. That's the first space. Now, guys, talk to me. If you're going to learn doik mina, what's the next step? The same punishment that you get for your daughter-in-law, you're going to get for her daughter-in-law, right? Says the Gemara, and umina, and you're continuing to learn mahu biskila, just like what? Hu biskila, afhinami biskila. She's also biskila, meaning right. And now, what's wrong with that? Lemanda maskila chamura ikal mifrich. Malahu shekain imay beskila. Toima bihi she'ima bisreifa. Right? Imay is skila. Ima is sreifa. Good. So maybe the reason why your daughter-in-law is asa, you know why? Is because of skila. And that's why it's asa. Masha'en kain, that ima is what is sreifa, and sreifa is not a schama. Therefore, kalasa, you can't learn out. V'oid, bita b'sreifa v'kalasa b'skila. Guys, which is more chamer? Which is more chamer? A daughter or a daughter-in-law? Daughter-in-law, a daughter. Now, daughter is going to get sreifa, and the daughter-in-law is going to get skila? That makes no sense. So this is one thing I'm going to skila is more chamer. Right. Says the Gemara, hu ba'atzma yichiach. You can disprove it. The bita b'sreifa, his own daughter's b'sreifa, the kalasi b'skila. That's not a good kasha. That's not a good kasha because the man's also on his daughter with sreifa, but his own. So in other words, that wouldn't be a good kasha because just like his daughter-in-law is skila, so to her daughter-in-law should be skila. So that's not a kasha. A man's with his mother is skila, with his daughter-in-law is skila. You should make a chilik between ima, which is sreifa, lekalasa, which would be what? Skila, because daik mina. Good. So guys, now we're going. And like the man of Rav Shimon, that Sreif is more chamor. Mehai kusha loinidunyim, because this last kasha, you're not going to go ahead and you're going to say just like the mother's imad is with Sreifa, the kalasa is with skila. Nothing to do with chumis. Why would they be? Why would the mother be one and the kalasa be another? Like the man the Amar. But you learn out, but you keep it in its place. Meaning, all you're going to learn out is kalasai is asura. But what would you wouldn't learn out what? You wouldn't learn out skila. You wouldn't learn out skila because again, what would you learn out? Just like daughter-in-law is skila, so too her daughter skila. You're not learning that out. Okay. Mahu kalasai asura afi kalasai asura vuki basra hasamhu de beskila aval hacha besreifa kida ashnem beima. In other words, what would she get, guys? What would she get? She gets sreifa. If you're not going to learn out from daughter-in-law skila, what would her daughter get? Similar to the mother. The mother is what? Her mother is sreifa. She would be sreifa also. So now, the reason why daughter-in-law is asa is because she's with skila. Mashen came the her, she's sreifa. Toima behi shima b'sreifa. Void. Mahu chalakta boy bein bita lekalasai. Just like over there, you make a chilik by him that is daughter-in-law sreifa and kalasi skila. Afit chalik ba memisa lekalasa. They should be what and bita lekalasa. In this case, they're both going to be sreifa. Bita is going to be sreifa and kalasa should be sreifa. But if your daughter and your daughter-in-law are two different, her daughter and her daughter-in-law should be different also. Because the last kasha, we're not going to learn it. Okay, so guys. Comes out at the end of the day. Aim imay is Yavam Chaf Aleph. Kalasa is Mutta. Good? Now, there's a pasuk. Vayikra Yudches pasuk Yud. Ervas bas bincha oy bas bitcha loy segala ervas anheim. The erva of your granddaughter or your granddaughter from your son or granddaughter from your daughter is what? Okay, now, this we saw yesterday. This is speaking Bitoy Manusasa, guys. This is speaking about a man was ma'anas a woman. He had a daughter, and that he's usher on this girl. He's usher on this girl. Okay, says the Gemara. Bitoy Manusasa minayin that you get streifa. How do you know, guys? We know that a man's daughter gets streifa. Again, we had the pasuk yesterday. The pasuk is in Kedoshim. The pasuk is in Kedoshim. I don't know if you have yesterday's thing. Still have it. The Isha sheyikach es Isha ves ima zima hi beish yisfu oishan ves hen. They die, and we have bita. We learn out ervas bas binchoy bas bitcha v'loy segala ben ervas esahena. So, and then we learn out ervas ishu bit loy segala is hena. So we learn at hena, and then we learn at zima. So therefore, we know bita menisasei ama abaya kalvachay. Now, how do you know that? How do you know you get sreifa? How do you know that you get sreifa? Says the Gemara, because it doesn't say bitoy, guys. It says bas bincha u bas bitcha. It doesn't say, guys, your granddaughter from Anusasa, you get sreifa. How do you know your daughter you get sreifa? Guys, listen to the kasha. Guys, listen to the kasha. Your granddaughter, whether it's from a son that you bore out of wedlock or a daughter that was born out of wedlock, that daughter you get sreifa for. How do you know the granddaughter? How do you know the daughter itself? Now you would say to me, well, how could the granddaughter be more severe than daughter, right? Which is the Gemara is going to say in a second. But just get the kasha. Again, the problem with this Parsha Varoy is they all sound the same. Unless you medayik in every one, they all sound similar, right? So here, Bas Bitcha is speaking about your daughter, your granddaughter from your son that was a result of an anusa, or your granddaughter that was of a daughter of anusa. How do you know the daughter herself, man, was supposed gets streifa? How do you know that? Okay, that's the Gemara's kasha. Pita Nisasa Minayin. Ha'ama says Abaya, Kal v'chaymer, al bitoy, al bas bitoy onish, al bitoy kol shekain. Guys, the hisser of bas bitcha or bas bincha comes mikoyach the bitoy, right? Bitoy. So so l'chayra, if they get sreifa, certainly the one generation closer gets sreifa. Says the Gemara, v'chi oinshim min adin. Says Gemara, l'chayra, can you learn out an oinish from kal v'chaymer? And that Gemara says, gili milsa ba'almahu. This is a gili milsa ba'alma. Says Rashi. Ain ze oinish min adin. You're not learning out an oinish from the kal v'chaymer. The bas bitoy mukureves, right? Bas bitoy mikureves, the bitoy he. The kurva of your granddaughter is because of your daughter. The kurva of your granddaughter is because of your daughter. The asya. Vehechi dami oinish minadin kigoin ervas achoischa bas avicha bas imecha ein liela bas aviv shlei bas imoy bas ima shlei bas aviv v'bas lehevi bas aviv bas ima kavachem is oinish minadin. Okay, that would be the case. So the bottom line is, fellas, l'chayra, it's pashit that bitoy me'anu sasai has to get at least the same punishment as bas mincha, and we know from heina zima that they do get streifa. That's Rabbi. Rava Amar li Rabbi Yitzchak Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Avdimi Asya heina Asya zima. Okay, so we learned that yesterday. Heina zima. So if you look at Rashi, guys, Asya heina is the Surah Nemra b'sheiroi heina. It says by his relatives, guys. By his relatives, guys. Ervis, listen to my words. Ervis bas bincha, bas bitcha. The erva, it's speaking about the man's relatives, and it says heina, the word heina. V'nemar b'sher ishtoi heina. And it says by her, ervas isha ubita. You're speaking about her relatives, as bas binah, as bas bita, not bitcha, not bincha, but bitcha, Binah, that's her relatives, it says Heina. So by him it says Heina, by her it says Heina. Mala haloin bita kibas, bita, just like by her relatives, bita kibas bita, Afkan bita kibas bita. Guys, the pasuk says, Ervas ishu bita loy segala, a woman and her daughter you shouldn't. So it says daughter mefurish. And then it says what? It says bas binah. So what do you see? That when it comes to her, bita, ubas bita is the same thing, yes? And then you learn out zima for sreifa. So therefore it says Rava, that's where I know it from. You want to know where I know it from? I know it from the Gzera Shava of heina zima. So Abai learns it from a kal v'chaymer. If for bas bita you're going to get sreifa, for bita certainly you're going to get sreifa. One generation closer. According to Rava, it's going to be from the Kal V'chomer, it's going to be from the Gezer Shava of Heina Heina Zima Zima. It says Heina by him, it says Heina by her. Therefore, just like her, it says Bita and Baspina. So to by him, it's Bita as well. And just like there, you get Sreifa, so to Bita, you get Sreifa.
They come to the same place.
Hmm?
They come to the same place.
They're arriving at the same place a different way. They're both, again, the Gemara's kasher is how do you know it gets Sreifa? And for the Gemara, Abai says, and he says from this. Okay, yeah, they're both coming to answer the same thing. Now, here's a third pshat, guys. Here's a third pshat. But what both Abai and Rava were dealing in the Indian itself. He's going to come from left field. Tani Avua the Reb Oven, the father of Oven, Lefi Shaloyla Madnu Lebita Menusasai. Since we didn't learn an Einish for Bita Menusasai, Chutz v'chakasav loymar. That's why the pasuk had to say ubas ish koyin. Why do you say, guys? Why do you have to say ish koyin? Just say bas koyin. Just say bas koyin. What do you mean bas ish koyin? Ubas ish koyin. Right? Why do you have to say the word ish? Okay. Why do you have to say the word ish? If you look at Rashi, two lines down where it gets wide, the havi leila meimar ubas koyin. Because of ish loymalacha bas ish manusasai. She'enoi bas ishtoi. Bas ish, guys, bas ish koyen. It's only his daughter. Bas ish koyen. Ish. It's only his daughter. Why is it only his daughter? Because he wasn't married. So how do you have a daughter if he wasn't married? He was ma'anis a woman. Geschmack is anything, right? Bas ish koyen. The Torah extrapolates from one word. Bas ish koyen. So how do you know? Continues Rashi. Bas ish menusasai she'ena bas ishtoi. Kiseichel is nice if she begins to turn away. Esavia, Klaimar, shezinsa me'avia. She's mizanim with who? Her father. Right? Guys, look this pasuk. This pasuk. Listen to the way the Gemara dashes this pasuk. It's Peled. It's Mamish Torah Shavapeh. Ubas ish kayin. Fellas, listen. Ubas ish kayin, the bas of only the ish, because he wasn't married. Kiseichel is nice. With who? Esaviha. Who was she mizana with? Her father. Her father. Right? And then and it continues. What does it say? Esavi michaleles ba'esh tisaref. So in other words, the Avud Rav Avin is learning in the pasuk itself state. You don't have to no kal v'chaimis, no gzerish shava. The way he touches up the pasuk, right? Again, one more time, guys. One more time. Listen, geschmack is anything. Says more. Ubas ish kayin. Bas ish. What does bas ish mean? He wasn't married. It's only his daughter. It's only his daughter. Kiseichel lisnai sesavia. When she begins, she's mizana with who? With her father. He mechaleles beish tisarif. You're gonna burn her. Okay, so that's the word of Rabbi Yochanan. So now we're gonna ask a kasha, guys. Ima bas koyin he besreifa ve'in boila besreifa. Right, only she gets sreifa, but he doesn't. Esavia he mechaleles. Right, guys, we learned that in Masechta in Zoymimim. Right, he's going to get chenek. He's not going to get what? He's not going to get sreifa. So therefore, what would you say? Af bitam nisasla he besreifa ve'in boila besreifa. Right, and it's not true. It's not true. Right, if the father over here is boila, he's going to get sreifa. Right, he's right. Oh, good. So in other words, so therefore, I would say the same thing. We know that the boila, the father, is besreifa, so it can't be a good limud. One more time. You're telling me from this pasuk, guys. You're telling me from this pasuk that you know that what that she gets sreifa, that he gets sreifa. Why? Because it says she gets sreifa. Now, why would you say that? We know if she's a baskoya and she's mizana, he doesn't get sreifa. He gets chenek. So why would the father be different? It must be that what? This is not a good limud. In other words, that anyone who's boil a basish kayin does not get what she gets. And over here, he was saying he does. You want to know it. Bitam in the sasa, you want to know, and you're learning from the sreifa, which sreifa, not the sreifa that it says by what? By arroyos, a particular arroyos, the kayin dika sreifa, the bas kayin. Fred the Gemara, if that's the case, why does he get Sreifa? Amar Abai, I'll tell you why. Amar Abai, Amar Kra, the pasuk says, Esavia hi mechaleles, right? The boil, you know when what? When the boil doesn't get Sreifa, Misha mechaleles esavia. Yatzazu shavia mechalala. In other words, when the boil is mechalal the father, then the boil does not get Sreifa. When here the father is mecholol, because he's the boil, then you get Sreifa. In other words, if your kasha is that this is not a good source, because why? He shouldn't get Sreifa, Abai says, no, it is a good source. Abai says it is a good source. When doesn't the boil get Sreifa? Because the boil is Mechalal, the father. Over here, the father Gufa is the Mechalal. And therefore what? He would get Sreifa. Rava Amar, a second teretz, Bishlei Mahasam, Afikne Medina de Bas Kayin, Vukimta Adina de Bas Yisrael. Guys, what happens? The guy's boil a Bas Kayin. She gets Sreifa. What does he get? Chenek. Very good. Good. He gets Chenek, yeah? Now, what are you going to say over here? Guys, she gets Sreifa. What does he get? But she's a Penuya. She's a Penuya. In other words, guys, look at me. Eye contact. Guys, eye contact. Eye contact. You're not getting away with this. Listen up. When a person's with a Bas Kohen, she is what? She's married. We're speaking about a married woman, yes? So usually adulterer gets chenek. We know from this Masechta that what? A Bas Kohen gets reifa. Good? So what do we do with the boil? We won't be machma to the extent he mechalel. She gets reifa. What does he get? The normal aveira of being with an Eishes Ish, which is what? Chenek. What do you want to learn out over here? You want to say that the father should what? Not get sreifa. Then what should he get? Let's take him out of the parsha. He's with his daughter, but he's not getting. He's getting sreifa because he's with his daughter, right? Now you're going to tell me since she gets sreifa, her boil should get what? Can he get chenek? No. Why? She's a penuya. She's not an Eishes Ish. So what would he get? He gets 0. Is that a svara? No svara. So Mamela, what does he have to get? Sreifa. So it's a good limud. Both Abaya and Rava are coming to save Avua the Reb Ovin's pshat. Both Abaya and Rava are coming to go ahead and save Reb Ovin's pshat, right? Abaya says about when does the boil not get sreifa? When the father's mechulul. But when she's mechalal the father, but when the father himself is mechulul, then he's the boil, he gets sreifa. Says Rava, he has to get sreifa, because if he doesn't get sreifa, guys, he doesn't get anything. The reason why the boil gets chenek is because normally an adulterer gets chenek, him and her. Baskaya, a special halacha, she gets sreifa. He stays on the halacha of an adulterer. He gets chenek. But over here, what are you going to take the father and say what? She gets sreifa and he gets what? Eishes Ish? She's not an Eishes Ish. You have to say she's pata, and that you can't say. Mela has to be he gets sreifa. That's Rava's pshat. Let's see it inside. Rav Amar Bishlei Mahasa Mafikne Medina de Bas Kayin Vukimta Adina de Bas Yisrael Hacha Adina de Man Mukmisla Adina de Penuya Mukmisla. Good. Okay, so we have 3 sources for Bita Manu Sasai. We got a Kal V'Chayimah from Abaya, we got Rava's Zima, and we have Rabbi from Bas Kayin. Ashara Labita Manu Sasai Minayin. Where's the Ashara in the Torah? Bishleim la Abaya v'Rava, the Abaya learned from the Kal V'Chayimah, and Rava learned from Zera Shava, Mehechid Nafkulu Einish, Mehasam Nafkulu Ashara. Wherever you learned the Einish from, you learned the Ashara from, because Elul Latana Avu the Ravin, who learns it from Bas Kayin, Mai. Where's the Azhara from? Rabbi Loi, Amakra, what the pasuk says, Al Techalel es bitcha las noisa, v'isizna aretz umal zima. Al Techalel es bincha las noisa. That's good. So it says, by the father being with her, Al Techalel es bas es bincha las noisa, by being with her. Do not be mechal your daughter by being with her. That's the Azhara. Maskor of Yaakov, Achu de Ravacha. By Yaakov, Hay al Techalis Bilchal as Noisel Hachi Dasa, as an Azhara for a father being with his daughter. Hami boy lelechiditanya al techal es bitchal as noisa yachal b'koyin amasias es bita levi. Yisrael, a bas koyin is unique, right? She's the bas koyin. I might think Mechalala by marrying off to a Levi or Yisrael. Talmud Loimel as Noisa. We're not speaking about a regular marriage. We're speaking about las Noisa. The Chil Sheb is Nusa Custom Medaber. It's speaking about Chil Mezus. The Moises Bita Shalei Shemishus, where he gives his daughter away for his nus. So if I need it for this, how can I use it to teach me it as the hara to beat him and sasai? Again, you're using it as a hara for beating him with sasai. How can I use it to beat him with sasai? I needed to tell me that that it's the father gives it away. It's speaking about a father gives away his daughter for his nus. And Cain, if that's the only thing that's come to teach me, leimekar al tochel. My al techalel shma minatati. You two things: one giving away for his nus, and another one as hara loat le beat him with sasai. Now, what does a bayi v'rava do with the limit of avua the Rabbavin? What do they do with it? Since they have that svara from Rel Kal V'Chaimer from Hina Zima Zima, what do they do al Tchalis Bitcha? By Rova Hayat Tchalis Bitcha as nice to my Avale. Amar Reb Mani Zeh Hamesias Bitul Zakein. A person who marries his daughter off to a zakein. Says Rashi, he marries off his daughter to a zakein, and what's going to be the problem? The Maisa Bita La Adam Labilis the Chalel Haisha Bita the Zakein Umitoich She'enim Kablasai, and since she's not makabel to be married to an old man, Mizana he love she's going to be Mizana. You know, what are you doing? Don't be machal your daughter by marrying off to an old man. Don't marry off to an old man. So Bobby Orbach told me, I didn't see it inside. He told me that the Aruch LaNer says over here that a guy can't marry off his daughter for money to some old man. In Halach, he says, you know, you get an old man, you get a few bucks, marry him off. It's never, nothing good's ever going to come out of that, right? Nothing good's going to come out of that. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Zehamasha Bita Baigeres. When his daughter becomes a Baigeres, at this time she begins to have physical desires. And if you're going to keep her around, right, after Chalas as nicer, you're going to end up setting her up that she's going to want to act upon her physical desires. So in other words, these are two cases. What do they use it for? That don't be machal your daughter by putting her in a situation that she's going to go ahead and have snus, either by marrying off to an old man or waiting to marry her off when she gets to a certain age, a vagras. Okay, guys, that's the end of hard Gemara. Take a breath, take a smile. Okay, good. There's no ani Yisrael like a Russia Arim. V'amasha bita Baigeres, and someone who delays marrying his daughter when she's a Baigeres. Atu amasha bita Baigeres lav Russia Arim who says Rashi. Masha bita Baigeres. The bottom line. Shemasha isa b'shvil malacha. You know what he wants? He's got a good deal. She's working. Who's getting the money? He is. Why does he want to marry her off? Because as soon as he marries her off, it's gone. So therefore, he delays marrying her off. Vizuya Ramis Russia, and this is the Ramis Russia over here, the trickery. Shegorim las noisa. He causes her to be mizana. Again, she reached the age of Baigeres. She has certain desires, and you want to keep her around that she can't fulfill those desires. Bishvil hana asai, for his own hana. Ein shein writes a lick like shifcha l'shvamshoy. He doesn't want to buy a shifcha, so he has his daughter. He has his daughter as a shifcha. So therefore, says Rabbi Kiva, that's a Russia Aram. Read the Gemara. That's the only Russia Aram. Rabbi says Abaya Hachi Kamar. Eza Ani Russia Aram. Who is the not a Russia Aram? In many cases, we had a Russia Aram before, but what's the case of Ani Russia Aram? This is the case of Ani Russia Aram, that he's so poor, he wants to keep his daughter around to work for him and not take into account that she has physical needs. So Eza Russia Aram, Ze'amasha Bita Begeris.
She is a woman, doesn't have priority, but she has Shabbos, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Stopping her from populating the world.
I don't know. I think it means like pashit physical desire. In other words, you're not. No, it's not speaking about. I'm not speaking L'Shem Shemayim over here.
No, stopping her from populating the world.
No. That's not that. We're not taking that into account. We're not doing that. You know, it's lahaz noisa means you're going to cause incident znus yankel. There's znus las noisa. Al tacha binchel las noisa. She turn away. V'amrav kahana mishum Rabbi Akiva. Be careful of a person who's going to go ahead and give you advice for his own derech. He gives you advice because he has a cheshbon. You have a guy who gives you a piece of advice. I think you should go ahead and invest in that land. Yeah. and you know that he on the side he's got a little thing going, right? He's getting a little kickback or something, you know. Amrav Yudam Arav. Hamasi es bita lezaken. Someone who marries his daughter to a zaken. Hamasi isha lebenai cotton. Or someone marries a woman up to a benai cotton. Who can't again? Hamachsa avedis kuti and someone who turns to avedis of kuti. Alava kosav oimer. And then the pasuk says, "Leman sefois harava es hatzmeya," so that he quenched the attached to the thirsty. Lo yoiv Hashem soleach lo. Hashem won't be willing to forgive him. A person who over here we're describing as what? As thirsty, a person who has desires, and who you're marrying her off to? She has desires. She's what? She is harava. You're marrying off to tzmeya, someone who's what is old, and he don't have the desires. A cotton, he doesn't have desire. You see, she has desire. And what about the last one? Let's see Rashi. V'machsa avedas l'kuti hishva v'chavakut Yisrael. You equate the two. Umar ba'atzmai shashavas aveda ein chashuv aloi. He shows that the Indian of shavas aveda is not chashiv. Mitzvahs boyroi shav kuti hu oisakain shlein etztavu aleihem. Okay, I've spoken this out many times. The reason you do mitzvahs is not because it's nice. The reason you do mitzvahs is because it's right. It's right. Hashavas Aved is a nice thing. It's a very nice thing to do. A matter of fact, I still remember stories. A guy in a taxi cab, someone left $10,000 in, and he returned it and made like the front page of the Post. Doesn't take much to make the front page of the Post, but he made the front page of the Post. Right? They were so shocked that what? How do you return something? In Yiddishkeit, it's such a dove pasha to return something. When it comes to a guy to go ahead, ad kedei guys, you find a pair of tefillin. You don't know whose it is. Bismana said, what do you have? On social media, you'll have in 1 minute 100,000 people who know. The kid will find this tefillin in a second, right? Because there's a natural thing you want to return an object. If you go ahead and do that for a guy, what are you showing? You're not doing it because Hashem told you to do it. You're doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because you think it's right. It's nice to do, right? Here, I'm a nice guy. I'm returning something. Don't equate that with what Hashem tells you, mitzvah. Hashem tells you, sell it. In other words, with the chickens, right? He sold them, he gave him back something. He took the Veda. You're supposed to go ahead and do it because Hashem wants you to do it. That's what Rashi's telling you. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch was not happy with that.
That's why you're not looking at the scheme. That's why you're not doing Shabbos.
No, it's because it says to HaKadosh Baruch. It says to your brother. Return to your brother.
Is it considered not also? You can give it back.
But if you give it back to him, again, the mitzvah shava means that if it's no sweat off your back, there's no problem with that. No sweat off your back. If you find a wallet and has a name on it with a I'm sure you call it up. But to go ahead to the extent that that not. A Kiddush Hashem could come out, but that's not the mitzvah shava. That's I'm not going to do that to Mekadosh Hashem. I mean, my Dr. Grunstein, a famous, you know that story.
What would you do, right?
You heard the story? What?
What would you do?
With the $50?
Right.
I don't know. My doctor, there was a $50 bill, and it was connected with the deposit slip. And he walked by and they picked the $50 up and they left it. He walked by, picked it up, took the deposit, went to the bank. And they were so shocked, right? They were so shocked.
Copay.
What?
It's just a copay.
It's a copay.
Your brother's neighbor. It needs to be your brother's neighbor, right?
Right next door. Yeah. Great doctor, by the way.
Great doctor.
Says the Mesave. So you're telling me to marry off a cotton is not a good thing. To marry your child to a cotton is not a good thing. It says someone who loves his wife like himself. He's mechaber more than himself. It's a Gemara in Yivamis. He puts his children on the right path. And someone who marries them close to what the perik meaning. They're still katanim. She's a katana, she's a cotton. All over because of Omer, you know that bishalom in your tents. So you see that from here that what? To marry of Samach Lepirkin is a good thing. So how can you tell me to marry for cotton? It's not a good thing. You see, it is a good thing. And if the Gemara is Samach Lepirkin shiny, Samach Lepirkin is different. Okay. Ton Rabbanan. Someone is Allah says Shchainim is Karas Kraivav. Vanosi is Pita Chaisai marries his niece. Vamal Veselo Laoni B'Shas Doicha. You lend the person when he needs it. Allah V'Kasavayma Astikra V'Hashem Yaneh. Call out and Hashem will answer you. Now the next piece, guys. I don't know. Do you still have the from yesterday's thing about Eshen? I had this on the. I had this. I didn't erase it. So what?
Only on the screen.
Oh, it was only on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me send it out. Okay. Thank you, Baruch. So, guys, again, if you're saying Isha Sheikach as Isha Vesima Zimahi Beish Yisrafu Isai Veshen, so if it's speaking about a mother-in-law, how are you going to touch Eshen? So you have to touch Eshen, one of them. In other words, the mother-in-law. That's one possibility. Another possibility is you're speaking about two women. You're speaking about your mother-in-law and the mother's mother-in-law. Good. So let's go. Now that you have the pasuk, take a look on the side. You have the pasuk. Take a look on the side. Abaye says the following. This is the Gemara. I'm giving you the Gemara right now. Rabbi Yishmael says, Ish is the man, Isha is the mother-in-law, and therefore he darshans Eshen to mean only the mother-in-law, and the mother's mother-in-law you're going to learn out of a drasha. Rabbi Kiva says no. It's speaking about a man who's with his mother-in-law and her mother. So mother-in-law and the mother's mother-in-law, but there's no drasha. That's the pasuk, guys. Isha sheyikach es Isha, your mother-in-law. That's Ima and her mother. Good. That's the way Rabbi. Now, Rabbi says no. Rabbi says Eshen means that when they are in the world together, then given even your mother-in-law outlives your wife. Eshen means your wife and her. So even if your wife dies, Le'aleinu, right? Your mother-in-law will be asa. Rabbi Kiva says no. If only when they're alive, but not if she's dead. Then you're mutter to your mother-in-law. You will not be asa to marry your mother-in-law. That's the limud way we're going to learn right now. Oh, thank you, Baruch. Says the Gemara. Tan Rabbanan. Oisai veshen. Ish kiyikachi, right? Oisai veshen. Oisai vesachas mehen. Dibber Rabbi Yishmael. These are the words of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Akiva Oimer. Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion. Oisai veshteihem. Right? Mother-in-law, and mother-in-law. My binayu, Amrabayu, Mashmos Darshimika binayu. No, at the end of the day, guys, is the mother-in-law asa? Say yes. Is the mother of the mother-in-law asa? Yes. How do you know that? That's the machloikis. Says the Rabbi Yishmael, you learn it from a drasha. Says Rabbi Akiva, you know it from the pasuk itself. Good. Rabbi Yishmael, okay. Rabbi Yishmael Soiva Oisei Vesen Oisei Vesachas Mehen. Only one of them, right? Only one of them, mother-in-law. Isha, Isha, a woman and her mother-in-law, and you learn mother-in-law from a drasha. She came b'lashon yoin Yavani koirin la'achas heina, esen achas heina, ve'em chamaisa midrasha asya. Good. Rabbi Akiva Saba, no. I say him ve'eshen, and both of them. I say ve'shteyem, both mother-in-law and mother's mother-in-law. It was there on the sheet right in front of you. Ima em chamaisa hacha ksiva. It's open. Rav Amar chamaisa la'acha misa kibinayu. The nafkamina is chamaisa after misa. Ve'shmal Saba chamaisa la'acha misa. Esen, as long as there's one, guys, as long as there's one, even if the wife's no longer in this world, it's usher, says Rabbi Yishmael. All right. Rabbi Akiva Savar Isura Ba'alma. Rabbi Akiva says not that it's muta, but that the Isha, then when the Isha kayemes, esen, when they're both in the world, then what? Then the mother-in-law is asa. Sreifa. When the mother-in-law Isha is not in the world, then the mother is not. Okay, I guess we'll stop over here.